Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's a slightly different video today. For anyone that sort of views my videos on even a slightly regular basis, you'll sort of know that I spend a lot of time out on location, photographing wildlife, photographing landscapes, and giving some tips on how to do both those types of photography. But today I'm talking about, well really it's a decision I need to make in maybe this year, maybe next year. And when it comes to wildlife photography, I've been using my D500 digital SLR for a good 2 to 3 years now, and it's a brilliant camera. I absolutely love it. But I'm sort of thinking about, should I swap and change to mirrorless? And it's one of those things that it's a bit of a big decision. I love this camera, but there are a couple of things about digital SLRs that I think mirrorless would be better. In terms of, and one of them is the quietness of the shutter and the mirror. So this digital SLR's got a mirror because it's got an optical viewfinder. So the mirror flips out the way in order for the light to hit the digital sensor. And when that mirror flips up out the way of the sensor in the back of the camera, it creates quite a clunky noise. And sometimes that can scare wildlife away. And mirrorless cameras are way, way, way quieter. So that's one of the reasons I'm sort of thinking maybe I should switch to mirrorless. And as I say, this has got an optical viewfinder, so the light comes into the lens, it hits the mirror, bounces off the mirror up into the viewfinder. And because mirrorless cameras don't have that mirror, obviously they're much quieter. So that's a good reason to switch to mirrorless. The second one is I'm just shooting more wildlife video footage now. And with my D500, to shoot video, I have to have the picture in live view on the back of the screen. And it's quite hard to do this and follow the movement or action of a wild animal. Whereas with a mirrorless camera, you've got an electronic viewfinder, so it's like a little TV screen that you look through, so I could literally have my eye to the camera and shoot video. So that's two really good reasons for me to maybe consider switching from a DSLR to a mirrorless camera. But I'm a Nikon user, so I've got lots and lots of lenses, long lenses for wildlife, wide-angled lenses for landscape, so a whole range of kit. So I don't want to switch to Olympus, to Canon, to Sony. I need to stick with Nikon. And for me, the best video camera and the best low-light performance mirrorless camera, by the looks of things, is a Nikon Z6. And on paper, that looks like the one I should go for. But my biggest concern is autofocus. And I'm just not convinced that the autofocus is as good as the D500. And that's a big problem. If I was just shooting landscapes, that wouldn't be an issue at all. But the main reason I want to switch to mirrorless would be for wildlife photography. So I need good autofocus performance. Now, I know Nikon have just brought out a firmware update, 3.0, and that's made the autofocus system in the Z6 and the Z7 way, way, way better. But my dilemma is it good enough? Is the autofocus system in the Nikon Z6 as good or better than the D500? If it's as good as the D500, or if it was better than the D500, then I'm definitely going to switch. So, as I say, this video is very different because I would like any feedback from you guys to help me make my decision. Has anybody shot with a Nikon Z6 mirrorless camera for wildlife photography, and is the autofocus good enough for wildlife photography? And more generally, if you've made the switch from a DSLR to a mirrorless camera, was it a good switch and was it worth your while? Did you regret going from a digital SLR to a mirrorless system? So as I say, this video, or this week's video, very different. I'm not trying to give out advice this time, which is what I normally do on my wildlife and landscape videos. I'm asking for a bit of advice from you guys. Should I switch from my D500 DSLR to a Nikon Z6? Now, the other thing about the Z6 is it's a full frame camera, and this is a crop sensor camera, but I've got lenses that will work on a full frame body because I also have a D800 for landscapes, and so all my lenses are good for a full frame camera, and if they're good for full frame, I can also use them on my crop sensor body. So my lens lineup isn't an issue. The fact that the Z6 is a full frame and my D500 is a crop censored APS-C sensor. That's not an issue. So if you can give me your thoughts on DSLR versus mirrorless for wildlife photography, then that will be great. So please leave your comments in the comment section below this video, please. And apart from that, as I say, the next video I'll be back to normal. I've been photographing common terns, which are a fantastic seabird, and I'm going to probably shoot a video on that. And I've also got a landscape video lined up that I want to shoot as well. So from the next video onwards, it will be back to normal. But this is a decision that I want to make. I'd like to make it now, but I suspect I'll probably be waiting for the next Nikon mirrorless before I make the jump. But you know, who knows? If I get enough good advice from this video, I might be changing it sooner. So thanks for listening. I hope I've not rambled on too much. But yeah, any help on this decision-making process would be much appreciated. So I'll say bye for now, guys, and I'll see you on the next video.